Howdy. We are back. Howdy, and welcome to the Colonel and the Kid podcast. So we're back. I thought I'd get one more podcast in before the end of the month. Today is Sunday, May 31st. So tomorrow's June 1st, and I guess full swing into summer. I mean, technically it's not summer yet till June 21 or 20th, around that area. That's when official summer starts. That's the what is it? The longest day of the year. And then days will start getting shorter for daylight. Anyway, end of May, here we are. And for those of you that can see me, if you're watching the video podcast on YouTube, you can see I'm not wearing the regular podcast hat. I'm wearing the cavalry hat. So more on that in a little bit, but we'll talk about that. But here we are at the podcast, Colonel and the Kid podcast. I'm your host, Greg Heitman. And, we don't have a full, I guess what I'm calling the full podcast today, because I don't have a chapter to read. I don't have them edited and ready to go yet. So we're not going to actually have a chapter from the memoir. And the whole Colonel and the Kid podcast is based on the Colonel and the Kid memoir, which I wrote about my grandfather, Lieutenant Colonel Edwin P. Hagen Jr. That was my maternal grandfather, my mom's dad. So this whole thing is dedicated to his memory, and really meant to honor his life and my relationship with my grandfather and the lessons he passed on to me, and hopefully I can share them with you. But again, no chapter today. We're just going to have a kind of a little discussion on regular recurring segments that I sprinkle in here, because the podcast is really, it's the spine of the podcast is the memoir, the Colonel and the Kid memoir, and that supports everything that we talk about. But we also have some peripheral segments, mostly to try to be funny, provide a little bit of humor, but maybe sometimes they miss the mark. But anyway, back to the hat. We're not wearing the traditional podcast hat today. We're just wearing the cavalry uniform hat, because I wanted to congratulate myself on remembering. I don't know if you're watching the podcast, over my shoulder here, hanging in the background, is my cavalry uniform that I would wear to Fort Siston when I'd go up to sell books. A book like this, a Western, Fort Siston, Dakota Territory. This was actually, I think, my first book I wrote, I believe. It's a Western. And I go and try to sell this book up at the Fort Siston Festival sometimes. And coincidentally, I think it's actually occurring next weekend, the first weekend in June. I'm not going this year because I'm down here in New Mexico doing some other stuff, but I'm wearing this hat in honor that I remember to actually take the wool cavalry uniform. Actually, I took it to the dry cleaners for the very first time. I think I bought that and wore it first in 2012. It's never been cleaned until now. Till like a couple of weeks ago, I finally remembered to get it over to a cleaners. It had just been laying on the floor in the closet away from clean things. But we're celebrating that event of actually remembering to take it to the cleaners and get it dry cleaned. Because it is wool. You can't just throw it in the wash machine, I guess. I guess you can, but it would ruin it. So that's why I'm wearing the hat today. And from marketing, the Westerns, Fort Siston, Dakota Territory, or FSDT, as I like to call it. And we also have another Western. This is Chief Red Iron, the Lakota Uprising, also known as CRILTU, Critlu. That's the abbreviation. So I'm marketing these books today in honor of a significant accomplishment for me to actually do something and remember to do something that I've been meaning to do for quite a while and get the uniform to the dry cleaners. I can't remember how much that cost. I think it was like I want to say it was like almost I don't think it was $20 to get it dry clean. I don't know if that's expensive or not. I didn't know what else to do. Dry cleaners, it's going to pay what I guess they whatever they say. I never even asked beforehand. I probably should do that. If they could would have come back and said that's a $100, sir. It's like, I guess I could have just bought a new uniform probably for that price, but I think it was less than $20. And I was actually going to have my the comforter for my king size bed laundered because I'm switching out the winter comforter to the summertime one. So I was going to take that. I took it over there actually in a container. It's pretty big, a little plastic tote container, storage container. Took it over there to the directly and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, our large wash machine is not working right now, so we have a maintenance call to get it fixed, but it's not we can't so we can't wash your comforter." It's like, okay. So, but that's next on the list to do. Hopefully I can remember to do that. I think it's sitting out in the garage in the container in a little plastic tote and it's just sitting kind of in the way because I want to leave it out there in the middle so I remember to actually load it up and take it over there. Maybe this week. See if I get that dry cleaned. Very busy schedule constantly when you're when you're retired, constantly doing stuff. Things happen, and you're just like reacting and doing stuff and accomplishing things and making things happen. Obviously, I mean, my retired friends know what I'm saying. So there we are. We got the two Western books that I've written. Got those marketed today for the occasion of dry cleaning and wearing the backup podcasting Western style cap. It's not wearing my custom cowboy hat, but this this really it looks pretty good. I'm looking at myself, and I think the hat looks good. But I wanted to point out that I did on the cover of the Chief Red Iron book. I put on here Dakota Territory series, and I don't think I really followed up. I think I was going to base that on Dakota Territory, the Fort System, and then smaller prints Dakota Territory. And I've been referring to some of these things, these westerns, as part of a trilogy because I do have the screenplay written for another western, and I use the screenplay as an outline, and that one's called The Battle of the Badlands. So I think that'll be The Battle of the Badlands Dakota Territory series. Book 3 in Dakota Territory. So I'm probably have to redo these covers and get that kind of put together as a trilogy, and then sell, market, the 3-book package. Maybe make some hardcover copies and sell them special order. I don't know, do something like that. But first things first, got to finish up the memoir. Went over that last time, I think quite a bit. Went over all the upcoming chapters, and hopefully we'll have those starting rolling here. Hopefully in June. Hopefully I'll get to start on chapter 41 and get through chapter 60 by fall. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to make it now. I mean, time's going by so fast here that it's kind of making me doubt my originally laid out schedule. So see how that goes. I'm gonna, once I get rolling, maybe I'll try to get 2 podcasts a week. So that would be, if I did that, it's still going to be, you know, 10 weeks. That's 2.5 months. Man, that's the best case scenario if I do that. If I get 3, maybe 6 weeks. I don't think that will happen either. Ugh, man. Uh, I don't know what to tell myself to boost my confidence so I can actually get this done this year, 2026. Maybe it can be done. Maybe not. Let's just roll with it. Roll with the punches, as they say. So, coming soon, season 3, volume 3 of the Colonel and the Kid podcast. Looking forward to it. Anyway, one of the reasons these westerns came up, is because there's been some. I still peripherally work on screenplays and marketing my screenplays. I haven't really had much um, action or requests because there's call for certain type of screenplays that come out. I'm on a couple of one paid subscription list and then one that I don't pay for, and it has couple of free leads. I guess they call them leads, like a producer's looking for a certain type of story. So I get an email maybe once a week from the one, and then a couple times a month from the other. And I have my library of screenplays, and I submit those to requests and see if anybody wants to read a copy of the screenplay, or they can download it if they want, or they can request it and I can email it to them. But I haven't been, too much doing too much to work on that or try to push those out there, market them through that. But once in a while something comes up. So I did send those out to, they were just requests for dramas, historical dramas. And I thought, well, these are historical fiction books based on, based on actual events, real happenings. And so I sent them out. I don't know if Westerns, there's been a resurgence of Westerns a little bit, but I think that they're so expensive. I mean, the production of a Western with all the horses and all the work to try to make it a period, and and be able to shoot scenes that don't have the modern amenities, highways or utility poles in the background. I think it's to be very expensive because then you're on remote locations and you gotta haul everything out and truck everything out, food, the actors and extras, and just all the stuff that goes with that. The remoteness that just adds up to expense. So I think there's kind of been a little bit of I guess a little bit of shying away from the Western genre over the years. There's still a few out there. I mean, they have the modern westerns like Yellowstone, the TV series. It's like a modern western, I guess, and so you don't have to work. You can work around those those specific things that limit your visual field, like utility poles, stuff like that. So those would be fine. Like Longmire, the TV series Longmire, which I really enjoyed. It's too bad they can't bring that back or have something similar. I don't think there's anything out there really even close to that, as far as I can tell right now. And I'll turn that on once in a while. Start rewatching it here and there. It's pretty good. I enjoy that. But anyway, actual westerns, a lost art form. It seems like there's no more John Wayne. There's no John Wayne out there. I guess maybe Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner did a. He's got a western movie series, and he actually left. I guess Yellowstone. He was part of the Yellowstone TV series, but he left that because he was doing his own western. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it was like going to be a multi-part movie. I think I watched the first one. I don't think I ever watched this. It was going to be like a continuing movie series, like I think 3 movies in total. And I did watch the first one. And I don't know what's happened, if he's even made the other ones. So maybe I'll have to look that up and check that out. First one was okay. I don't know. It didn't really jump out at me that just stick with me. I don't think I can even give you the plot outline. If you wanted it, I don't think I could tell you what it was. But of course, I think I claim it as my all-time favorite movie was Dances with Wolves. Kevin Costner did that movie, and out there in rural South Dakota back in, what was it, 1993? That time period, 1992, maybe it was filmed. Early 90s, let's say, and that's a great movie. It's really long. 3 hour plus maybe. And the setting is just at Civil War and then after. And that's what these books are. That era, Civil War era, South Dakota setting, like Dances with Wolves. But these are actually historical fiction books. That was just a made up, complete fiction, Dances with Wolves. But if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. Put it on your put it into your watch list and watch it immediately because I think I think it stands up pretty good. You should be able to enjoy it. And I don't think it gets too preachy. A little bit preachy, but very enjoyable story. So on to corrections. Corrections from last time. I really don't think we had anything that jumped out at me that I said wrong or needs to be corrected. So that's pretty good. So we can go on right away to the next segment, which is the baseball segment. Teener baseball poster still up in the background. Haven't changed that for a while. Guess what? I do have the book handy right here. Teener baseball book. And Teener baseball book sponsoring this segment of baseball. Good book for a few laughs, politically incorrect story from the let's say the 80s, the late 1980s. Not talking about the Western 1880s. We're talking 100 years later. We have a modern baseball book. I mean, is it really modern? I guess from 40 years ago now. I don't know. It's still pretty relevant. I think if you read this book and you talk to teenagers today, they probably could relate. Teenage boys at their finest, acting at their finest. I guess doing what teenage boys do. So, playing baseball in the summertime. Great book, highly recommended by Tony Kornheiser. And I sent a letter and got his permission to use this quote. Greg wrote a book. I mean, what more do you want for an endorsement on a book than that? From Tony Kornheiser, sports media personality. There you go. And if you're not watching the video podcast, I'm holding the book up. I should have mentioned that. So I know sometimes I say, if you're watching this, you're seeing me do this. It's sort of the opposite. I don't mean to do that. I don't know why I say that. It seems it's backwards because it's like, if you're not watching this, then I describe what I'm doing. Like, if you're not watching this, I'm wearing a hat, a cavalry hat. Because if you're watching this, you can see me wearing the hat. I know it doesn't make sense. I say that incorrectly routinely for some reason. I just can't, I can't correct myself for some reason. I'll work on that. We all have our flaws. That's my one flaw. What can I say? Anyway, so the baseball report or the sports report, starting with baseball, and sponsored by Teener Baseball Book. And we always try to talk about the Twins. And I did look up the record, and they were playing early this afternoon. So last week they were 24-27 when I had the podcast. And when I first wrote down the score or the standings for this week, they were 27-32. But actually, they've lost since they played this Sunday early afternoon game, and they're now 27-33. So they've now lost 6 more games, and they've won 3 since the last report. So they're 27-33 on the year. I mean, what can I say? I think I've repeatedly harshly criticized the Minnesota Twins as maybe the worst professional franchise in sports today. Of the top level sports. They might be the worst run franchise with the least amount of talent and no chance of winning. I mean, it's pretty sad. I feel I feel bad for the Twins and myself as a Twins fan. But I think we went over it quite in detail last time that I'm looking for a new baseball team. I'm far from the Midwest now. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, on the southwest part of the country, and we have Colorado Rockies. They're about 350 miles north of me. We have the Arizona Diamondbacks, probably, I don't know what they are. They 300, probably around 350 miles southwest of me. Texas Rangers, whatever that is, 500, 600 miles east. But what I have my eye on is the Las Vegas A's. They're not there yet. They're playing in Sacramento right now, but they're building a new stadium in Las Vegas, and this could be teamed up with my new football team for the NFL, since I am not in the Midwest anymore, and this is probably time to move on for me to get closer, to be more regionally affiliated. So I am looking at the Las Vegas Raiders and Las Vegas, of course. We have Las Vegas, New Mexico, just 60 miles from where I live. And if you want to know what Las Vegas means, it's a Spanish phrase. It's two words, Las and Vegas, which means the meadows. If you always wondered, Vegas means meadows in Spanish, which is weird because I'm not sure where those meadows would be over in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a big giant desert. So it's a little concerning that they've named it that way. I think maybe it's like false advertising. They're trying to draw people there, but hey, Las Vegas, to all the Spanish population. They were just trying to get them there. So they're saying, "Oh, it's beautiful meadows here," and it's not. It's just a desert. Anyway, had to get a drink of water. What are we? 22 minutes in. I'm already running out of gas on my voice. Apparently, out of practice. Haven't been doing many podcasts lately, and let's say, you know, use it or lose it. So you got to keep practicing and keep up the work. Otherwise, you forget how your body kind of atrophies or your voice atrophies away. So you just got to make sure you're keeping at it, keeping in practice. So anyway, where was I? I was talking about Las Vegas, maybe my new center for sports. I don't think they have an NBA team yet. I don't think they've been designated. I think there's going to be two new NBA teams coming on. I don't know. Can't remember. I think Seattle Supersonics are coming back. The other one, or if I think there's another one. I don't know, but maybe Las Vegas will get an NBA team in the future, and they could have them all because they have the. Let's just jump into the other updates, the sports headlines, because we do have hockey championship coming up, and we do have the NBA championship. NHL and NBA playoffs start. I think they both start this week. I know the NBA starts on Wednesday, so that'll be June 3rd. That's the first game. That'll be in San Antonio because San Antonio Spurs beat Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 7 last night. And it's kind of a bummer. I was kind of hoping to see Oklahoma City try to defend their championship, but they had a couple of big injuries, hamstring injuries for one of their starters, their second best player, and then the backup to that guy pulled the hamstring too. So they were down two big players, two guys that contribute a lot. So they couldn't advance and try to defend their championship from last year. So that goes so much for their dynasty. And the San Antonio Spurs, now they might be starting their own dynasty. We'll see how this championship goes against the Knicks. I kind of dread it because it's the New York Knicks and everyone loves the Knicks from New York. They have all these celebrities that are just, what are they? Front runner celebrities and come out of the woodwork to support the New York Knicks, who've been so terrible for so long. Haven't won a championship since, I don't know, 50 plus years ago. Was it in the 70s? I think they won. They were in the last last time they were in a championship game, I think it was 1999, I believe. So it's been so long that it's just, the New York Knicks fans, they just trip over themselves, and Spike Lee and those guys that sit courtside, they're just unbearable. They're just disgusting to look at. And what Timothy Chalamet is a big one. Ben Stiller, these guys. Jimmy Fallon was there at one of these games recently, but the Knicks, it could be it's a toss up to me. The Knicks they've just dominated the East. I think the East is kind of weaker in general than the West from the NBA standpoint. So fingers crossed. I'm going to be cheering quite a bit for the San Antonio Spurs to just shellac them. We'll see. It's interesting because they have Victor Wembanyama, who's French. He's like 7'4", just a freak because he's so athletic. Like he's huge, and he can move around like he's a guard. Dribble the ball. He can shoot 3-pointers. It's really strange. So I got Victor. I call him Wembanyama. Stefan Castle is a guard. Devin Vassell is a guard. They have De'Aaron Fox as also a guard, I guess. They got 3 guards. And who's the other guy? Who's the other starter? So, I don't know. I don't know who they got. I was going to see if I can name all the starters. But they have the 6th man of the year. His name was Keldon Williams. And I thought they were saying Calvin Williams all the time. It's like, Calvin Williams, isn't he a wide receiver for Detroit Lions? But it's actually Keldon, Keldon. He had a big game in the Western Conference Championship. Had 2 big 3-pointers there. I'm going to see if I can name the Knicks starters too. This is easier because they have 3 guys that played in the Villanova College Championship champions. I think they won 2 championships in 3 years, something like that. I don't know. But so they have Jalen Brunson, point guard. He's only like 6'2", but he is so quick. It's just weird. He can just dominate a game. I'm very curious to see how the matchup will go, trying to defend against him. Jalen Brunson from Villanova, Josh Hart from Villanova, and Mikal Bridges. They're all 3 from Villanova. And then you have OG Anunoby, I think was from Indiana. And then they have the big cat they call him, Karl Anthony Towns. He's from Kentucky. He's drafted by the Timberwolves, but then they couldn't afford him, so they traded him to the Knicks, of course, which is a big joke because it was just total one-way trade. They got Timberwolves ended up getting Julius Randle. It was terrible. I don't know. It was just a one-sided trade in favor of the Knicks. But the Knicks have won, like, I think they said 10 or 11 games in a row in the playoffs. It was like a franchise record. So I don't know. I really don't want the Knicks to win because it's just it seems set up by the NBA that they want the Knicks to win and get the East Coast fans back into cheering for basketball and give them hope and everything. But we'll see. Maybe the best team will win. Maybe it is the Knicks. Anyway, I'll probably watch. I'm not going to be as dedicated to watch it. If I got other better offers, I definitely would go with that. But if I'm not doing anything, definitely turn it on. Starting Wednesday. So, and then the hockey starts, and I'm going to name all the players, all the starters for both teams. Starting with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Here we go. I can't name anybody on that team. And also the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's see. At goalie, No, I can't name any player on either of those teams. So my hockey knowledge is a little bit lacking, but the good news is there's no team from Canada. Once again, another embarrassing fact for all Canadians that your national sport is dominated by Americans. Well, American teams anyway. There's probably a lot of Canadian individual players that are on those teams that are in America. So sorry, Canada, kind of suck. I was gonna say, not your fault, but it is your fault that you suck. You know, you're Canada. What I hear people when the podcast I listen to, the host always calls Canada America's evil top hat. That just makes me laugh because they're they're like more European style socialism up there, and it's really wrecking the country. Canada used to be this kind of this innocent, non-obtrusive, just over there in the corner by itself, doing nothing wrong, no bad stuff happening. But now suddenly they're just very, very woke and very dangerously wrong in everything they're doing. So poor Canada. There's lucky hockey players from Canada get to come to the U.S. and live here and play here and work here. So I think they know how fortunate they are. Anyway, there's your sports update for this podcast. I think I did talk about. I want maybe we'll go a little further with the sports, but I think I mentioned this last time. I think I'm waiting for a deal from the NFL ticket. I canceled it. I didn't renew it, and I know that the first week of the NFL, I don't know if it's still called the NFL ticket, whatever it is. I've been a subscriber, but I did cancel because they were always giving, offering deals to people that would join late. It would be better the deal that I was paying. So I canceled it. I'm hoping for a comeback offer that's cheaper than what I would be paying. I think it's about, what the heck is it? Just about $500, maybe just under $500 for the season NFL ticket, Sunday ticket. Maybe that's what it's called because all the games, you get all the games unless they're blacked out from your region that you're forced to watch your local team on your antenna, I guess. But we'll see what happens. I'm not going to give up hope yet. I'm going to be busy a lot during this fall. I got some hunting to do, so that'll be okay if I don't get a good deal. I will miss it if I don't. Won't be able to watch the Vikings, my old team. I guess they're still my team. It's not official, but I am leaning towards the Las Vegas Raiders. Like I said, in my region, become a regional fan. I think technically my teams are the Cowboys and the Broncos for this coverage area. That's the franchises that are the default that you have to watch that you would watch on off your antenna. But you know, I I guess if I don't get the NFL ticket, then I won't have a team at all because I'm not going to be a Broncos or Cowboys fan. I mean, I've ruled them out already. Sorry, Denver. Sorry, Dallas. You're not getting me unless there's an unbelievable package of NIL money that comes my way, the name, image, likeness that those teams might send my way to try to recruit me to be a fan. I don't know. They give me some, I'd say a few $1,000s worth of swag, maybe some tickets and free parking and hotel accommodations and airline tickets to go see a game. Maybe I would think about becoming their fan, but otherwise, maybe I'll just be a free agent for a while. See what the best deal I can get. So that's that's it. This sports update. I think we ran long in sports updating. Didn't mean to do that, but we did. Sorry. And I think the next podcast, what I'll try to do is give you the countdown for how many days away we are from certain NFL activities because I really don't care about baseball that much anymore. It's become I don't know. It's become kind of just boring for me watching Major League Baseball. I've turned on the Twins here a couple times recently, and they are so terrible that it's like torturous to watch them. Maybe maybe I'll pick up tune into some Las Vegas A's games coming up here and maybe get schooled up on some of my potential players for those teams. Again, maybe I'll play it cool. Maybe I'll just be a free agent and see if any team wants to recruit me as their fan with some nice complimentary swag packages to entice me to be a fan of theirs. We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath. No one should hold their breath for fanship, for my being or making some announcement towards being a fan of a team. But anyway, future sports updates will include some NFL milestone dates. That's my plan in the future, so we can get you ready, get you hyped up for NFL season returns. All right, here's the recurring segment. Big news. And of course, I don't know if I talked. I don't think I talked about this last time, but the reason big news came up is for some reason it flashed into my head that when I was a kid, my parents always watched the CBS news at 10 o'clock. And that in the Midwest, in South Dakota anyway, that's when it was the 10 o'clock news. And I think on the East Coast and West Coast, they have the 11 o'clock news, which is ridiculous. I mean, I should be going to bed before 11 o'clock, I would hope, for most people. But the big news at 10, that was Kelloland News. So that just, for some reason, that popped into my head. And so I kind of co-opted the big news exclamation point. And I'm using that as a recurring segment in the podcast now. And what I want to talk about today is big news is I have for those of you watching the podcast, I'm holding up a box of Pop Tarts, and I don't buy Pop Tarts very often, but they had a big discount. There was a clearance. I don't know. Maybe they're going to, what's these have a best if used by December 17th, 2026 date. So I think they had just too much in stock. So they were on sale. And these are packages of four packages of 2 Pop Tarts each in each package. And they come in the silver foil wrapper. And one of the things you're not supposed to do, don't microwave it in that wrapper because it's got it's like a foil, some metal in there, and it can, I guess, wreck your microwave or start a fire or I don't know, do all kinds of things bad to your microwave. So the instructions on the foil says do not microwave in the foil or remove. Let's see what it says. There's just some funny sayings on here, but I think one of the things it says, do not microwave in this pouch. So I decided I would read the directions on how to microwave a Pop Tart. And at 57 years old, I'm finally reading directions on how to microwave Pop Tart. It is very interesting. For microwave, 1, put on microwave safe plate. 2, heat 3 seconds at a time until warm enough. 3, let cool before eating. And I was thinking 3 seconds at a time till it's warm enough. It's like, I don't know if any microwaves actually heat up in that short of a period of time. It's really weird to me, but the 3 seconds at a time reminded me of a story when I was in high school. I remember I came home. I don't know if I was out later. I don't know if maybe I was on a date who knows what it was, but I came home and I was looking for something to eat. It wasn't that late. Maybe it was like 11:30, but my parents were in bed and I was in the kitchen and I found my mom had made some brownies from the brownie mix and they're in a pan under some aluminum foil. And so I cut one. This has nothing to do with foil in the microwave, but so I cut one and put it on the plate and I put it in the microwave to just heat it up a little bit. And I probably put it in for like 4 seconds. It didn't do anything. So in 4 seconds, it went, and then beep, it really loud. And I did that like 4 or 5 times. And finally, it was warm enough to eat. So I remember the next day that my mom told me that my dad that woke him up. That beeping, like the 4 times it beeped. The microwave beeped really loud, and my mom said that my dad complaining about me and microwaving that thing and over and beeping the microwave over and over. And it's like, oh, sorry. So it's like you don't need better as a kid, I guess, thinking that their bedroom's way back in the back hallway. They probably couldn't hear that, could they? Obviously, they could. So I thought it was so triggering for me to see that. I mean, not triggering in a bad way, just triggering the memories of heating something up in the microwave for 3 seconds. I don't know. That's just hilarious to me. So anyway, a good memory. That's the big news I have, that at age 57, I've actually, for the first time, read instructions on how to properly microwave a Pop Tart. And I think it's a good lesson for everyone that the American way of doing something is you just start doing it, and then if you get stuck, then you look at the instructions and directions of how to do something. That's the American way of how we go about our business. We just jump right in, and then if you get confused or don't know what you're doing, then you read the instructions. Some people would say that that's wrong, but I don't know. It seems about right for America. We just, we're the greatest country in the world. That's how we do things. We just jump right in, and hope it usually goes pretty good for us, right? I don't think we can argue. So, oh, sorry, sorry about that long tangent of big news. Big news of learning something at age 57. I guess it's probably big news, but I think I will tell a little story that includes a microwave at this time too, because it just popped into my mind when I was making some notes here earlier. And this has to do with hunting, and I remember I think I was in high school, but we were so Grady, my older brother, he's a couple years older than me and my dad. We were doing some hunting in the fall. It's October. And I think it was probably around, Columbus Day or something like that. And we are going to go up to Lake City at, Grandpa Heitman's farm, the Heitman farm up there, and hunt ducks. And we had like a long weekend. I think that's what it was. And so we were going to go do that. And I think we had gone up. I think my mom and my younger brother were staying with Grandma and Grandpa Hagen, and then we're going to go up and hunt, and then we're going to go pick them up after we hunted in the morning, then bring my mom and Garrett home with us. So, but I remember my dad was, I think we made some barbecues, as we call them, sloppy joe. Most people call them sloppy joes, but it's just ground beef with barbecue sauce. And my mom had some buns, but they were in the freezer, so to keep them fresh, and you just take them out and then microwave them a little bit to soften them up and then use them. But I think my dad just took them out of the freezer, threw them in the microwave, and put it on defrost. And I don't know if he knew that there was like a metal twist tie on there on the buns, the frozen buns from the freezer in a plastic bag. And I learned that microwaves don't like metal this way, that it started the plastic bag on fire, that little metal tie. It's like my dad's like, oh my God. I had to stop the microwave. It was just like smoke. and it was a good lesson, a good learning experience and lesson, and also very hilarious. Half of the microwave, uh, well, the microwave didn't start on fire, just the plastic in the microwave started on fire, and see my dad react up because he was cooking for us kids in high school, being Grady. I think we had to be at football practice or something, so that's why we were back in Groton. It was some weird thing in high school football practice, and then we were able to go hunt ducks uh, on that. I think it was Columbus Day weekend or something like that. I don't know, whatever it was. Maybe it was parent teacher conference. I don't know. It was whatever it was. Gonna we had a day off in the middle, not the middle of the week. I think it was like a Monday or something like that. Maybe it was a Friday we are gonna have off, and I don't know. It was very memorable. I don't think the hunting was memorable, but I remember my dad microwaving a metal tie, on a plastic bag, trying to warm up some or defrost some buns in the microwave and starting the plastic bag on fire. And that's when I learned that metal in a microwave is bad. So that was sometime in high school, probably between my ages of 14 and 18. I learned that. No, I was probably is more between 14 and 16 because I was probably a freshman or sophomore during that time when I learned that. So very good lesson. So anyway, there's your update on the Pop Tarts, and I brought that in prop in specially so those watching the video, you can see the Pop Tart box, and maybe you learned something. Maybe you didn't know that metal doesn't go in microwaves, and you've just successfully been tutored on that fact. But I want to read the wrapper here for the Pop Tarts. This is the foil wrapper. It has you have funny little sayings here. It says, I have a funny feeling about this because these are strawberry Pop Tarts. They're filled with strawberry filling. Hilarious. Are you asking why do I come in this shiny pouch? We're saying it's not polite to talk with your mouth full. And finally, you're so easy to open up to. So, Pop Tarts, toaster pastries. And I don't imagine these are very healthy for you, but I mean, having them once in a while, it's like nostalgia comes back because I'm not saying it was a staple, but I think I had, a few in college. I don't think I ever had, my mom never bought them in high school or anything like that when I was in high school or school. They're kind of expensive too, so I wouldn't recommend them. I don't endorse them a product only because they don't pay me. Otherwise, if Kellogg's Pop Tarts wants to give me a contract to start selling Pop Tarts or hyping Pop Tarts, hawking them on my podcast, I'll accept it. But it's going to take a lot of free Pop Tarts and probably some cash, to be able to endorse their product. I will endorse Kellogg's Frosted Flakes for free. I do that. That was one of my first commercials way back when. The Colonel the Kid podcast brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. They're great. I think that goes without saying. I don't really need to do the commercial because everyone knows they're great. I will endorse them for nothing. So the other big news, and this is a combined big news / music update. I wanted to talk about last Wednesday. It was May 27th. We had tickets to go to Sandia Casino to see Bailey Zimmerman, who's a rising country music performer. Let's call him that. And 1 hour before the show, mind you, I live in Santa Fe. And it's about an hour drive down to Albuquerque at Sandia Casino. 1 hour before the show, I got an email. I just happened to be looking at my email, and I saw there was an email message from Sandia Casino that the show had been canceled. I'm like, what? So I was like so glad that we didn't drive down there only to get there when the show had been canceled. And I was like, Thank goodness. Thank goodness I saw that email, which was weird because I don't get notices or notification signals on my phone for new emails. I get it for text. Like if they would have texted a message saying the show had been canceled, I would have looked at my phone, got that. Oh, okay. But I just happened to be looking at my emails, and I saw that, so it saved us from having to drive down there. But we were all ready to go. I got dressed up and my new cowboy boots and cowboy hat. Not this hat, a different straw hat. Uh, not the felt kind of hat, but because it's summer, it's too hot for felt. I should be wearing this probably. It's after Memorial Day, you can wear white. Should be wearing a white hat. But to recap, if you're not watching the video, I'm wearing a cavalry cowboy style hat, and because I got my cavalry uniform dry cleaned. We went over that quite extensively to start the podcast. But anyway, Bailey Zimmerman canceled the show because of some health issue, which was never clear. Some people were implying that he was having mental health problems, and he canceled the show here in Albuquerque. Well, not here in Santa Fe, but we were going to go to Albuquerque. Canceled the Albuquerque concert, and he canceled a concert somewhere in California. And I don't know. I googled why it was canceled, and it said it was health related, but it might have been mental health, not even like sore throat or whatever. So anyway, it actually said it was postponed, but then the next day it was canceled because he's on a tour. He's not going to backtrack and come back here to do a concert. So anyway, that that was big news. This also bleeds into the next segment, which I call "What the hell is going on out there?" AKA crazy, because well, I mean it's not crazy that the concert was canceled, but to cancel it like with 1 hour left, I mean they had to know that something was up. That I don't know. It seemed like it should have been much more warning that the concert was canceled, especially given that we were going to have to drive an hour, and we barely found out that we didn't that it was canceled, and we didn't drive down there for nothing, which is interesting to me. So that that goes into the big news, the music update, and what the hell's going on out there. But mostly, I have a second segment that I wanted to bring up under what the hell is going on out there, because this is crazy. AKA crazy segment. I think I mentioned this last time at the in the podcast that, and this was the big news, is I'm trying to buy a house in the Elephant Butte Reservoir vicinity. And in my notes, I had actually just written down trying to buy a house in Elephant Butte Reservoir, which would be hilarious because that means the house would be underwater. And there probably are houses that went underwater when they actually dammed up the Rio Grande River and flooded the stream banks, and houses got probably flooded. But I'm not buying one of those houses. It's just in the vicinity of the reservoir, not in the reservoir itself. So, but that's not the big news. The big news is, and under the segment, what the hell is going on out there, is it's really, really aggravating to me that, and I think borderline fraudulent, that I had to get, I'm getting a mortgage for this house. So they have to do a credit score. So they have to check your credit, and you have to give them permission to look at your credit because that dings your credit when they look at that. So they did that. And so the mortgage company sends me the reports. I have that right here next to my desk. So I got 3 scores from three different credit companies, whatever you want to call them. There's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And so the mortgage company sends me what information they received from these companies. So I'm looking at my credit scores, Equifax, and I've gone through life very I guess, very responsible with my credit, paying my bills, doing all this stuff. And I don't know. It's bizarre to me that they're so I have these scores and I'll share them. Equifax gives me an 806, which is I think 850 is the best you can get. But I have 806, TransUnion 811, and Experian. I'm actually under 800, 797, which is just I think something's going on. The mortgage company shares this with me, and I have a credit card. I have a Discover credit card, and I actually have a Capital One credit card. And both of those credit cards, they provide a service of sharing my current credit credit score using TransUnion as the credit company that they work with to share your credit score, to make sure that you understand how your credit's working, if you're being a good, good responsible financial person. Excuse me. So my credit score, I looked it up just this week with TransUnion per Discover and per Capital One. My credit score is like 846. And that's, versus 811 that the mortgage company is sharing the credit score. And part of that, I think, and I'm going to ask my mortgage broker about this is, am I getting a worse interest rate because of my lower credit scores here? Because there's a contradiction from the TransUnion reporting what my credit score is. And it's just frustrating because it seems like they're just either fraudulent or just bad at business. One of the two. I probably lean to fraudulent because they're going to try to charge me a higher interest rate because if, your credit score is not good enough. It's like, it's just about perfect on that one. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. And I do know that that's the way business works is it seems like there's always someone trying to take advantage. And if you're not paying attention, they're going to get you. So there's your lesson for today, boys and girls. I don't know if any children are listening to this podcast. Probably not. But mind your credit score because it's very important when you want to get a loan in the future. There you go. There's your free financial advice. Uh, that's my frustration. And I say, what the hell is going on out there? Financial world basically trying to, put one over on the little guy out there, just making sure they can get another point, quarter point or whatever it is, 10th of a point interest rate higher because over time, it's going to be thousands of dollars probably over the course of the year. $1,000+ just in interest that they're going to charge me. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I don't want to have a huge tax bill. I have money that's available that I could use, but I would have to pay such a huge tax burden to get access to the money, thanks to the way the government system's working. It's my money, but I don't want to spend it because I'll have to give a whole bunch of it to the federal government. Does that make sense at all? No. Anyway, I'll stop complaining about that. Try to move on, and hopefully there'll be an update on the house. I think we have an agreement on the house down there in the Elephant Butte community. So could be exciting news in the future. Exciting podcast coming from maybe it'll be emanating from the Elephant Butte house down south. I'm going to just call it down south. I think that would be the southern country house. The low country I'll refer to it. So that's going to be, I'm crossing my fingers. Everything goes good. We get that taken care of. I did have an inspection that I think maybe I talked about that last time that I didn't, I didn't think they were going to go for my readjustment in the price based on the inspection, but they did. And the money I'm going to be saving on the price of the house, it's going to go right back into the house because we're going to have to update the heating and cooling system, probably the water heater and some of the flooring. But other than that, I think, I mean, it's fine. Right? It's livable right now. I could go there and survive, but gonna bring it up to some more modern conveniences. So I'm kind of excited about it. Should be good. Should be cool. And on to the next segment. Getting close to the end. We haven't had this segment for quite a while, but not that I've been saving, I just forgot to bring it up last time. And today, here we are. This is the special segment called Look What I Found. And for those of you not watching the podcast, I found a hammer. It's a pretty heavy hammer. It's a pretty big hammer. Good leverage on it. I think this one, I can't remember what this, does it have a brand name on it? I don't see a brand name. Thought maybe it was a Husky. Maybe from Harbor Freight. I found it along the trail. The rail trail I walk on in the morning there. It was kind of this weird area. There's actually some grass in this one part. I don't know why there must be a little extra moisture there because there's actually grass and not just desert plants and everything. And it was just a couple feet, maybe a foot and a half off the trail in the grass there. And that's probably the furthest point from my house. And I picked it up and so I had to carry a hammer all the way back. I'm sure if anybody saw me walking with a hammer, they're probably like, what's that guy? Why is he walking with a hammer? But it's a free hammer. It's nice. Keep it handy just in case I need some pounding. Who knows? Put it in the truck. No, I think I already have a hammer in the truck, so I don't need two hammers in my truck. So probably put it in the shed. Probably put it in the back shed just for convenience because then if I need a hammer, then I don't have to go all the way in the house and through the garage, get a hammer. So I'm going to combine this. Look what I found into a musical update too, because it obviously begs for a song to be If I Had a Hammer by Peter, Paul, and Mary. That's how I know it. I think it was I think there's a earlier folk I think it's Pete Seeger song, If I Had a Hammer. But I like the Peter, Paul, and Mary version. Or it could be MC Hammer. Can't touch this. Can't touch this hammer because it's video. You can, if you're watching the video, or even if you're just listening to the video, you can't touch this by MC Hammer. There you go. That's your update for Look What I Found. Got to hold your finger up. If you're not watching, that's part of this segment is when you say, look what I found, you got to hold your finger up. Similar to They're Great. Frosted Flakes, that is. Yeah, we're getting a little punchy here at the end. We're wrapping it up. We're an hour in. I just got a notice from my watch that I need to stand up to make my stand. You got to stand for at least 1 minute every hour. Otherwise you get a negative report on your Apple Watch. But finally, I wanted to do one thing, and I'll post this picture. I'm not going to post any other pictures. I don't think I posted any pictures into the video last time, but I'm going to post this one. This is a license plate, a personalized plate in the final segment for today called License to Podcast. And this is where I talk about a personal plate that I've discovered mostly in the grocery store parking lot. When I'm walking up to buy my groceries, I'll look and see if I see any license plates that jump out at me. And this one is from California. It was the black, the classic black with the gold lettering, and it's KEPT-BKS, Kept Books. And I thought, I wonder if this guy was an accountant. California plate. And I don't know. I'm glad I saw it there. It was all a Mazda. I can't remember. I got a picture. I'll post the picture. It was an SUV. I can't tell what. I just have a picture from the front. This is the front plate. Kept Books, KEPT-BKS. Good license plate. I'm gonna give that a grade Part of this segment, I think I'm gonna start grading the licensed personalized plates that I see. I'm gonna give that a solid B, pushing B plus. Kept books because, especially if it was an accountant, that's a good one. That's a good plate. Check it out. If you're watching the video podcast on YouTube, you can see, I'll post that picture and you can enjoy that. And I don't know, B, almost a B plus for that license plate. If you disagree, you can send me an email or post it into the YouTube video comments there. If you disagree with that, if you want to maybe give it a higher score, possibly. Anyway, that's it. That's this podcast for today. May 31st, last day of May. Moving on to June. So I'll sign off, and we sign off with the 3 B's: be assertive, be positive, be proactive. Maybe I'll throw a fourth in there. Be yourself. You be you. So be assertive, be positive, be proactive. I'm just the 3 B's. Be assertive, be positive, be proactive. The 3 B's. You take action, And with that, we say, knock, and the door will be open to you. Seek, and you'll find. Ask, and you shall be given. We don't say goodbye. We just say, see you later. That's it for this podcast. The Colonel and the Kid podcast signs off for today. More to come. Finish out the volume 3 and get back on track for the rest of the summer. And looking forward to it. All right. See you later.